Hey guys, it's Miss Taylor. We're going over the currency practice worksheet that we started in class, graphing the dollar and the euro and how changes to one affect changes of the other. Remember, there are several things that shift the demand of a currency. Relative interest rates, we like them when they're high because financial investments are making us money now. When if inflation is relatively low elsewhere, that's where we want to go. We like it when we just like their products. We like another country's currency when we have more money. If we have higher income, that means we are spending more money in our country, but we're going to also be spending money elsewhere as well. Of course, expectations of any of the following that I just said, and then expectations of those expectations, and all that will come true. So we did the first one together in class, I believe. Graph the change of the dollar and the euro when the U.S. standard of living decreases. That means we have not as much money, standard of living, like we are not as rich. And so, if that were the case, you could either think like an American or think like a European here. I'm just going to be drawing one graph for each of these scenarios just to save time and to save space in our little tiny boxes that we have. So, if the standard of living in the United States decreases and it's euro over dollar on the y axis, quantity, demand, supply, boop, 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 boop. We have a regular just supply and demand graph of currency. And if the United States, and this is the dollar, so US dollar. If we're just given this information, if we have less money, aren't we just not going to be buying stuff? Like we don't need euros. We don't have very much money, so we're going to keep the money that we have. We're not going to be going to the bank and exchanging for currency to buy things, other foreign things. We're just going to keep the currency that we have. So supply of dollars shifts to the left, appreciating the dollar and depreciating the euro. If you shifted demand to the right, that's also okay. You're just thinking like a European. Either way, the dollar will appreciate, like it is here, and the euro will depreciate. The next one, graph change the dollar and the euro when the dollar is expected to rise. Okay, this one's easy. If the dollar is expected to rise, then it will appreciate. You can either think of it like supply shifting to the left for dollars, if you're an American, or if you're thinking from a European point of view, they're going to demand more dollars if they're expected to rise. It's just like if I was to expect the price of this pencil to rise, and this pencil is like an investment. I'm going to, if I'm an American and I already have the US dollar, I already have this investment, I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to dump it. I'm going to hoard it because the price of it's about to go up. It's about to be valuable. And if I don't have that product, that's someone else's pencil, I'm looking at that like, it's about to be more valuable. I want it now before the value goes up. Of course, me wanting it now increases the value. So once again, the dollar will appreciate, the euro will depreciate. The second one, or the third one, I guess, the second one down, is the savings rate in the U.S. decline. Okay, so it's not the interest rate, it's the savings rate. Savings rate decline. Less people are saving, which means they're spending. There's only two things you can do with money. You can either save it or you can spend it. And if we're decreasing the amount that we're saving, that means we are spending more. And if we're spending more, we're probably spending more of all goods, not just more American goods, but more foreign goods as well. So you are either thinking like an American, which you probably do, and euro over dollar, quantity of dollar, demand sloped downwards, labeled D1, supply sloped upwards, labeled S1. Boop, 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 boop. Regular graph, just like this. And if we're saving less, that means we're spending more on everything. And I need more euros if I want to spend more for European products. And so I'm probably going to dump my dollar, supplying more to the market, supplying more to in circulation. And that will actually depreciate the dollar. It'll depreciate the dollar. Of course, that's appreciating the euro, but it's all the same. So You could also think of it like this. Actually, there's only one way to think of it. It's hard to think like a European here. Europeans are not going to look that far into it, but Americans will. They're like, oh, I'm saving less. That means I'm spending more on European stuff. I need euros, so they're going to go to the bank and exchange their dollars for euros. Demand of euros is going up, but supply of dollars. That's what I really care about. Supply of dollars is going up as well. The next one: Europeans dislike new American autos designs. They don't like our cars. Surprise, surprise. So I'm going to just do two graphs on this one. So for those people that really like those two graphs, I'm one of those people, but just for time's sake. So I'm going to have the dollar graph and the euro graph. Regular supply and demand. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. Regular supply and demand on this one as well. Okay, so we have two graphs. I put my US dollar graph on the top and my euro graph on the bottom. If Europeans dislike new American auto designs, they don't need the dollar. They're not going to buy cars. They don't need American cars. They don't need American dollars. So demand of dollars shifts to the left. So on that top graph that I had, demand will shift to the left, depreciating the American dollar bill. Of course, if they are not demanding our dollars, that means they're not exchanging their euros to get our dollars, which means they're keeping their euros to themselves. They're not going to the bank and putting them on the counter to get those dollars. They don't want them. And so they are keeping their currency to themselves. So they're supplying less euros to the market, which appreciates the currency, which makes sense because ours depreciated. And if ours depreciates, that means the other one has to appreciate. So supply of euros shifts to the left, increasing the value of that euro. Okay. The next one, U.S. inflation is high relative to the rest of the world. Okay, let's talk about the definition of inflation, shall we? Inflation does not mean the value of our dollar is less. Inflation does not mean, oh, people are spending more or less. Those are causes or effects maybe of inflation. But inflation is prices are higher. Okay, prices are higher. We're all going to go to the store, tattoo store, parlor, and we are going to get tattoos that say things to the effect of like what interest rates are and what inflation is. If inflation is high here, prices are high here. Either, and I like this one because you can really, this one can be seen through an American or European point of view very easily. So let's do each. If I'm an American, and I am, U.S. prices are high, and I live here. Inflation is high here. Well, that's just stinky. I can't afford those really expensive American products. So we have dollar on the top. Whoa, backwards. Right there. Euro on the bottom. And it's too expensive here. I'm an American. I'm going to probably get rid of my I can't afford American stuff because inflation's really high here. And so I'm going to buy cheaper stuff elsewhere. And U.S. inflation is high relative to the rest of the world. So it's higher here than anywhere else. So even if I go to Europe, it's going to be cheaper because it's high here, not in Europe. And so I'm going to demand more euros. Of course, I have to dump my dollars to do so. So supply of dollars shifts to the right, depreciating the dollar. And now I'm going to demand more euros so I can buy their now cheap goods. And that appreciates the euro. And here's the thing. The situation was prices are high in the United States. So we buy elsewhere. Of course, that makes elsewhere's currency appreciate, which means guess what? Now prices are now more expensive in Europe. And then we're probably going to go back to we're going to go back to the United States later. And that right there just is the business cycle. What goes up comes down, and then goes up again, and then goes down again. So it's constant. It's a constant fluctuation of everything. The causes make the effects of something else, and that causes something else to happen, so forth and so on. And the last one is fear of a coming U.S. recession. So it's kind of hard to think of it like a European. Think of it more like an American. If I, an American, am afraid that the United States is about to have a recession, I'm probably not going to do a lot of spending if I think I'm about to lose my job. Probably not going to do a lot of spending if I think cyclical unemployment is going to go up and I might be a victim of that. And so I don't even need to go to the bank and exchange my dollars for euros because I'm probably not spending anywhere, much less like fancy European stuff. So I'm going to hoard my dollars, and supply for dollars is going to shift to the left, appreciating the dollar and depreciating the euro or any other country that I'm comparing it to. So hopefully that helps. Remember, just recap. The thing that affects supply of currency is that country's citizens either exchanging their currency for other countries or not exchanging their country's currency for another country's currency. Either I am hoarding and supply shifts to the left. I don't want your country's currency. I'm going to keep my own because it's better here for whatever reason. Interest rates are high here. Prices are low here. I like my products here. So forth and so on. Or I expect any of those things to happen. Or I am getting rid of my currency and supply is shifting to the right. I'm getting rid of my currency because interest rates suck here and they're high there, and that's great. Or prices are really high here and they're low there. Or I like your products. Or I am richer overall and I want more of every products, including yours, your foreign currencies, countries, products. That's what I want. And then demand is just you wanting another country's currency or not wanting that country's currency. I'm either supplying more of my currency to demand more of yours, or I am supplying less of my country's currency because I don't want and I'm demanding less of yours. So those are really the only two ideas, the two options that a person can have when they are graphing foreign exchange graphs, currency graphs. Hopefully that helped. And if not, leave a comment on this video or email me or contact me through Remind or Twitter. I'm on Twitter. Or just email my school email address or see me in class. So stop by for tutoring anytime. My door is always open when it can be. And I will see you later.